That's from Psyop Anime. The Grooming Gang Inquiry, it's titled. Look at this. 250,000 victims.
その数字は正確な実態を反映していない可能性があるとして適切な調査を待つべきだと。もう無理だ。何をしてるの？状況が悪いなんて誰だって分かってる。
Everybody knows things about. Everybody's daughter's afraid to walk down the street, scared of predators and grooming gangs. The authorities buy silence for political correctness. Grooming gangs running wild in the streets. Doesn't seem to be anyone who knows what to do. There's no end in sight. And we sit watching our TVs, and we listen while some local newscaster tells us this. No. Today we had another inquiry, today we had another report. Thousands of victims, they tell us. But that's the way it's supposed to be. We all know things are bad. Things are bad. Worse than bad. Crazy. Sit in our houses and all we say is this, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. I won't say anything. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being, goddammit. These girls' lives have value. I want you to get up right now. Go to your window. Open it. And stick your head out and yell this. I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore. Those of you who have seen the film Network by Paddy Chayefsky will know what that's referencing. That is the famous Howard Beale speech, I'm as mad as hell and I'm not going to take this anymore. And unironically, that's what it's come to. First, you've got to get mad, and you've got to say mad. And really, you're not angry enough. None of us are. So much of it we've just become so numb. I know I have. But it doesn't have to be this way. You can take that anger and you can do something with it. But first, you've got to get mad. And you've got to say, I'm as mad as hell and I'm not going to take this anymore. And then we'll figure out what to do about the rape gangs. And what to do about mass migration. And what to do about the deep state and the swamp and the forever wars and the graft and corruption. But first, you've got to get mad. And you've got to say, I'm as mad as hell. I'm not going to take this anymore. There is something fundamentally wrong with the UK, and with the world for that matter. Something has gone seriously wrong here. And this from Tom Foe, I thought this looked interesting. The title is, There's Something Wrong with Britain. I'm angry enough, I'm not going to go support bitches. Hell would be a relief from me after what I read. I know that feeling well. Got to get as mad as Goku did when Frieza blew up Krillin. Like, unironically. Yeah? But this from Tom Foe. There's something wrong with Britain. Let's take a look at this.
As an American, I don't know much about politics in the UK. However, when I see glimpses of it, I'm usually horrified.
Those grooming gang cases have now been referred back to police forces for reinvestigation, which is a major new development.
Well, the National Crime Agency is reviewing hundreds of files where potential lines of inquiry may have been missed because of human error.
Sometimes the things that happen there seem so alien to me, and other times more familiar than I'd want to admit. Looking at the United Kingdom is like viewing a mirror that shows you the future of the West. And looking at it today shows a civilization that is dead. No longer dying, just decomposing, rotting, with maggots eating away at its corpse. It sounds like an exaggeration, but it's not.
PC Maguire was on patrol late last year when the team spotted a suspected drug dealer.
Stop what you'll be taken! Just under 6 years now, and I'd say the last 2 years, people are just they just don't care anymore. They're using knives.
You've been stabbed? Whereabouts? Don't think you have, mate.
Who can forget Henry
Recently,
Nowak?
A politician by the name of Rupert Lowe, leader of the Restore Britain Party, released a document titled the Rape Gang Inquiry Report, a PDF highlighting an independent investigation into UK child grooming gangs. The report estimates around 250,000 victims since the 1950s, with 87 to 95% of the perpetrators in examined cases being Muslim men of predominantly Pakistani heritage, involving tactics like drugging, gang rape, trafficking, and racial abuse of
I saw this
vulnerable
already.
white girls. It details systematic institution cover-ups by police, councils, and services driven by political correctness fears. Because of these fears, this issue that has been plaguing people for so long has remained an open secret. One that, if not careful enough, someone may be arrested for being too honest about their opinions online, since it would be labeled as hate speech.
In terms of that, basically our hate crime team reviewed it and said there are offences there.
Okay.
Basically, section 19 refers to spreading what we say like racial hatred. So you've posted something online that we believe is spreading racial hatred.
Here's his first mistake. Letting these people in his house. You don't have to let these people into your house. You can just tell them to fuck off. You don't have to comply with these people. I will also note, they're not armed. They may have tasers, but they're not armed. So tactically, they're already at a disadvantage. You don't have to comply with these people. These actual fucking pigs.
Twitter, Facebook, I can't explain too much. It's just to give you the context beforehand. Basically, how it works now is then, obviously, if you've got stuff you'd like to gather, obviously I'm more than willing to talk through what you're able to take with you.
What, you're taking me away now?
Yes, so you're under arrest, so you're going to Harrogate, unfortunately.
You're taking
Yeah.
me to
How
Harrogate
about
in the
you
middle of
fuck
the night
off?
over a tweet?
I am, unfortunately.
This is in relation to some comments that you made on a Facebook page.
It's been caused, obviously, anxiety based upon your...
Oh no, they've been caused anxiety. They can go fuck themselves. And this fucking pig can go get fucked as well. Fuck these people, seriously. Fuck all the way off. Fuck the police.
Social media site.
Their own government would make a claim that openly saying these things could lead to racial division and violence. We wouldn't want to upset the established multicultural order of the West, because it turns out that when people acknowledge Muslim rape gangs, it makes them angry. So instead, they'll deny it, downplay it, gaslight you, or do whatever form of damage control possible. And if that doesn't work, they'll just throw you in prison. Because we wouldn't want people to be upset that their own young, innocent daughters are being raped. How would that make the Muslims feel? How would that make them feel? Not how does that make the white mothers, fathers, sons, and daughters feel, just how would that make the immigrants feel? And that right there is the key. The UK no longer has a
fuck these
government that
immigrants.
represents
They have to
them,
go back.
a government that no longer protects them, or even cares to consider the way they feel about being tortured in their own homeland. Because make no mistake about it, this is societal torture. How could it not be at this point? You have a governing authority that is knowingly inflicting severe psychological, spiritual, and physical abuse on its own people. And in this case, some of the most innocent among its base population, children. Young, innocent children. This authority has used its power to control, punish, and intimidate them, using all of these tactics as a cultural transforming tool intended to create a society based on fear, apathy, and compliance. That is societal torture. But they, nor the people that support these policies, would consider it that, because to do so wouldn't fit their narrative. The narrative that says the only future for them is one where you invite the third world into your home and create a multicultural utopia. To achieve that goal, the ends justify the means. And in this case, the means only hurt white people. So it's fine, acceptable, and for some of them, it's preferred.
Yeah, because it's white people, we don't count. We're fair game.
The people know this. Even with all the gaslighting and damage control, the people feel it. And over the years, there has been a growing societal conceptualization of these feelings. For many of them, these issues have affected them personally. It has hurt them, their sons, their daughters, their families, their communities. It has destroyed their sense of unity, patriotism, and love for their own countries and people.
I mean, what is there left to love? What is there left to have any sort of pride in? Because so much of it is just, it's all gone now.
It has isolated them in more ways than previous generations could have imagined. And that was always the first step. Break them down and force new behaviors. But the mask has slipped off. Pandora's box has been opened. The tactics and the fear have lost their hold on the people. And if not the older generations, it definitely lost its hold on the younger people of the West. I know this is an issue in the UK, but to the people of America, what is happening there can and will happen here. And in some ways, it already has.
Don't talk to me about American exceptionalism. If it can happen over there, it damn sure can happen over here too. America is not so special that the same thing can't happen here. And in many ways, it kind of already is.
The document that Rupert Lowe released is the next step. Not only in exposing this betrayal, but also in recognizing that there is something wrong in the West. That this dream of this multicultural melting pot utopia is a nightmare. And the children of the West have woken up to it. After taking
They've woken up to it, but the question remains, what are they going to do about it, if anything?
Going to look at some of the stuff that's in that report. I didn't read the whole thing because it's like 200 plus pages, but just seeing some of the things and then also seeing other people talk about it, it's all completely disgusting. Every single part about it. You talk about the Epstein files, this is just as disgusting, if not way worse than the Epstein files. And I know that's crazy to hear, but bear in mind, I'll talk about that.
The Epstein files were bad, and people still need to be punished for that. A lot of very powerful people still need to be punished for that. The Rape Gang Inquiry report, it's even worse.
In this video. Now, I got to be careful in what I talk about, because during that opening monologue, I kind of already pushed certain words to the limit on YouTube with saying stuff like gang rape. YouTube doesn't like it when you use those words, so I got to be careful what I say going forward. But after reading about this stuff, it's pretty bad, man. And the thing that's so crazy to me is that usually when you do see stuff that's kind of similar when it comes to children and trafficking, you do compare it to stuff like the Epstein files for obvious reasons, but with something like that, it involves people with power, money, politicians, famous people. So even though it's horrible, it still kind of makes sense to you because the people are famous and they have money, and you've always heard stories about rich, powerful politicians being super fucked up. So on some level, it kind of makes sense that like people are covering for them for obvious reasons. Money, political power, blackmail. It crosses all the boxes. In this case, with Rupert Lowe and the report, it's basically all immigrants. It's not some billionaire. It's not some politician. It's immigrants. People who were allowed to go to that country, who needed help, according to themselves, most of the time. Why do they go to these places? They go because they're like, I'm fleeing war. You know, my country's fucked up. I need help. My family needs help. Please help us. And they do. They let them in. They bring them in. They allow them to come and stay in their communities.
We allow them to take advantage of our kindness.
Some of the most fucked up shit you would ever see. And obviously, the reason why the media wasn't talking about it and the reason why the government was covering for it is, like I said in that monologue, it was because it doesn't fit their narrative to be honest about this. You already know it. And every single time the truth comes out regarding these people that are in political power, their influence essentially plummets. Keir Starmer, the trust people have in him and in their government is essentially gone. And like I said,
the rumors continue to persist that any day now he's going to be resigning. I'll believe it when I see it. I'll believe it when I see it. I remember the Swedish government caving and agreeing to stronger border management and strict immigration while the heat was on them, then going right back to the same bullshit when it wasn't. Yeah, no, they'll play act. They'll put on a show, and then when the heat dies down, they'll just go back to doing the same thing. It's never going to change unless the people responsible are rooted out of the halls of power. They listen to sob stories and believe them. Yeah, that has been our weakness for a long time now, and that has to stop. Most of them weren't fleeing war. Most of them are nowhere near any area involved in the war. in Syria and Iraq or Afghanistan. Most of them came from elsewhere in the Arab world. Yeah, they're economic refugees. Rumour is Monday we'll see if he actually resigns. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Like I said, I'll believe it when I see it.
I don't know too much about their political systems, but I've heard here and there that it's pretty bad. And the Epstein files played a big role in that, and I'm guessing this might be the nail in the coffin for them, which is good. Because if these people are going to lie and cover up shit for fucking immigrants, and mind you, if you don't think this shit is that bad, let me tell you some of the stuff that happened to some of these poor, innocent young girls. So one of them, which was an infant, it was a baby, was abused and had cigarettes put out on it. It was essentially tortured, and the baby's mother was forced to watch them abuse her little girl and literally torture a baby. And then they...
Again, these people are not compatible with our way of life. They have no business whatsoever being in a British country, in Britain. Or any Western country for that matter. They've got no business being here. They have to go back. Economic migration not protected under international law. National borders and sovereignty are in paragraphs 50 to 52 that are bad. Don't remember it exactly. Doesn't matter. They all have to go back.
Killed it. There's other reports of girls being set on fire. There are reports of women, young girls, being sent to red rooms to be tortured. And a lot of people who have been down many rabbit holes on the internet, you hear red room, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you don't know what that is, it's essentially websites for live streaming, except instead of live streaming about cooking or playing video games, they torture people. And in some cases, they kill them. In fact, actually, most of the time, when it was like real, they were killing the people to make money.
Giving the third world access to the internet was a mistake. It's bad enough that you've got whole swaths of the Indian population who believe the internet is just a toy for them to use to scam people and consume pornography. But you've also got that shit, live snuff content being streamed out to the world over legitimate websites or over the dark web. Giving the third world access to the internet was a mistake. We need to come to terms with that. We made a massive, massive mistake giving third worlders access to the internet. And we need to turn it off. And it really is as simple as just flipping a switch. All you have to do is flip that switch and turn off access to the internet, just like that. And so many of these problems just go away. Jack Crispy, I can't read that out on stream, but I understand the sentiment. Economic conditions are not a reason protected from being rejected by the recipient nation as a reason for migration. In other words, we're in the right to reject them under international law. But the UN will gladly move on as they did in 2016 when it was brought up. Yes, they will, because it's not about migration, economic or otherwise. It's about the destruction of the West, and it's about white genocide. That's what it's really about. These people are just weapons to be used to suppress mating amongst white people and ultimately breed them out of existence. And yet, even with the revelation of all of this, there are lunatics who run defense for them. Yes, and we need to deal with them just like you would a deranged lunatic.
That's what a red room is. This is stuff that's in this report. One girl was forced to be with a dog. I'm not going to go into too much gruesome detail about that one thing, but they forced a dog on her sexually. A young girl. Some girls were forced to have abortions with knitting needles. Other girls were forced to have glass bottles, keys, baseball bats, and other objects forced inside them. These Muslims had party houses where they would take girls and they would have dozens of men have their way with them. Underage girls. And if you think that's the worst of it, that isn't. Some girls were branded with M for Muhammad. Other girls were locked in cages. Girls as young as 5 and 6 were tied up and abused. I'm going to stop there because there's way more fucked up shit, but it's horrible.
It's even worse than that.
Everything about this stuff.
All of that is monstrous. There's still so much that happened that is so much worse than that. This is only scratching the surface.
Is disgusting. And the fact that it's been covered up for so long and the people that were trying to speak out against it were attacked. They were made public enemy number one in some cases. Even to this day, there are people reacting to this and they're laughing because they don't take any of this serious because it goes against their beliefs. Or even if it was true to them, they don't care because it involves white kids.
Yeah.
This is evil. There is nothing else to classify what this is. This is pure evil. And the government's mad. They're talking about how, don't talk about this. You'll make people racist. Don't talk about this.
Don't look back in
You'll cause
anger.
more racial division. Racism is like the bare minimum reaction you should have with this shit.
Yes, if this does not turn you into a racist, nothing will. And honestly, racism is just a matter of survival at this point. If you are not at least somewhat racist, or made somewhat racist by this, then you have zero survival instincts whatsoever. And you get what you fucking deserve. Good luck to you, mate. You're gonna need it. Government's upset they got caught, nothing else. Yeah. That's the whole reaction is, how dare you call us out on this? How dare you catch us in the act like this and call us out on this? Most Muslim sex traffickers here target young boys. As they can't get pregnant, they aren't men, and so it isn't haram. Yeah, it's lots of stories, lots of reports of that sort of thing going on in Afghanistan during the whole global war on terror, and there wasn't a damn thing that the military could do about it. They were actually actively hamstrung by their COs from doing anything about it. Same stuff Danish peacekeepers and soldiers in Afghanistan tried to raise the alarm over in the late 2000s, early 2010s, before the migrant crisis, and were called racist for. Yeah, that's what it all originates, and it all still goes on to this day. But somehow we're bad people for pointing that out, that, oh, that's wrong and you shouldn't be doing that.
Bare fucking minimum reaction you should have. Anything involving kids, and mind you, the stuff I already told you is already too much. But even if it was less than that, it doesn't matter. It's children. Anything involving kids is too fucked up. It's too extreme. And they go even further. How much hate in your heart do you have to have for a certain group of people, for a race? You know, they call us racists. I don't think any of us want to go around and tie girls up and put them in rooms. We just don't want them to fucking be in our countries. That's it. We just don't want them in the West. And you see it. They call you racist. They call you hateful. They call you evil. They're self-projecting. These people, if anything, are the real racists. Who the fuck thinks it's a great idea to do half of this shit to a human being, let alone a kid, a child, a young underage girl? I don't think you guys understand the things they were doing to these women. They were taking girls that were Christians and they were mocking them, making them wear crucifixes while they would abuse them. Who the fuck even considers doing that? There should be no punishment less for these people
demons.
Other than to be lynched.
Just demons and
Every single one of
monsters.
them. Anybody who could ever be connected to even thinking about doing this isn't just like a gang rape, dude. This is premeditated human torture where at no point in time do they consider that this is a human being, let alone
white
a child.
genocide.
At no point in time do they even stop and think, how is this making this human being feel? They have no respect. They give them no dignity whatsoever. That's who these people are. And of course, like I said, they're self-projecting. They call you racist. We just don't want them here. We just want our own homes. We want our own countries. The countries our ancestors built, not yours. These are our homes, our lands, our people. We built this civilization.
But to hear rappers and pop stars like Bob Villain talk, say you want your country back. No, you can't have that. Shut the fuck up. You want it back, you're going to have to fight for it. Simple as. This has now turned into a fight for survival. Again, makes one all the more furious at the inaction to it all. Yes, it is absolutely infuriating. A lot of veterans and returning soldiers trying to speak out about it then were charged with hate speech, and some of them still regularly trying to raise awareness about it at certain Eurosceptic events. Really, all they can do is just keep talking about it. As long as they keep talking about it, eventually something is going to breach containment.
And we've done so much for these people. And I know I'm talking about the UK here, but I think you guys can understand where I'm coming from. You guys have done so much for these people. You gave them refuge in your own countries, and this is what they do. This is what they do to the most innocent of you, is they beat and they torture and they traffic young girls. That's what they do. Is it all of them? No, it isn't. But you know what? It would be none of them.
It's enough
of them
to where it's a problem, to where they're
like
all
I said
a
in
problem.
my last video, I'm tired of having this. Oh, well,
It's enough of them to where they are all a problem now, to where they have made it everyone's problem.
well, it's not all of them. I'm tired of having these back and forth conversations. It's like, dude, if these people weren't even here, this wouldn't even be a problem.
We're done talking. They have to go back. We are done talking. they have to go back.
Even have to make the argument of, well, it's not all of them. They would be in
Don't
their
care.
own countries.
Don't care.
This is evil. The fact that this government, the politicians in the UK have suppressed this, the media has suppressed this, that is evil. And you know, there's a quote they put in the report, and it completely summarizes what's going on here. They put a quote from Albert Einstein, and they said the world is a dangerous place to live, not because of the people who are evil, but because of the people who don't do anything about it. And that hits the nail on the head. That's what this is. You have the people in the media and in the government who could have done something, who wanted to do something, but they refused. Either they were scared or they were just indifferent. Who knows? But at this point in time, we can spend all day,
Servant of Eden, thank you for following over on Twitch.
every day yelling about this. I've done enough of that in this video. If you're not already pissed off about this half as much as I am, I don't know what to fucking tell you. But to the people that are watching, especially the people in America, the reason why this...
I'm beyond angry now. I'm beyond angry with it all. There is no legitimacy left for the British state. Down with the British government. I'm to the point where it's like, down with the British government. Tear it all down. Start again. We need regime change. Found you on Twitch, sir. Glad you found me. When there are vermin in your house, you don't call a clown, you call an exterminator. Is pretty much how I feel about it, yeah.
Is important to talk about for us is because this is a moment in time. This is a moment in time that will be remembered for as long as Western civilization exists. This is a moment in time where the veil has been lifted, the mask slipped off, everybody knows the truth. People are going to try and downplay it. People are going to try and gaslight. They're going to damage control. That's going to be their main thing to do. And it's important for us to support these people. If you're on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, go follow the people posting this. Rupert Lowe MP, go follow him. Repost the reports. Post it on Facebook. Post it on Instagram. Talk about it. Don't let this be just something they deal with on their own. This affects everyone. Because like I said, what happens there can and more than likely will happen here. We're connected in a lot more ways than you would think. We don't just have our own countries. We exist in this post-World War II new order where we're all connected on many levels. And so this is important because those are your brothers and sisters in the...
In so many large metro areas in America are already being overrun with people from the third world, whether they be Indians or Somalis or some type of Middle Eastern or North African, and they don't bring anything positive to America. All they bring is crime, scams, leeching off the welfare system. They're just all a net drain, and all to get cheap labor and cheap votes.
United Kingdom. And they're suffering, and they've been suffering. And I know we're suffering too, but this is one of those moments where it's like there has to be support that's given to them. And the only way you can really do that is just to be aware, but also to spread awareness, because that is important. Because most people, when they hear about this stuff, it makes them sick. Because these are sick things. These are evil things. And that's why they constantly arrest people for even talking about half of that. You think these people getting arrested in those videos I was showing you, you think they're getting arrested because they're talking about this shit on the level that they're talking about now? No, they were just saying, hey, I don't want these people here. Maybe they say stuff that's a little crazy or maybe a little racist. I think at this point in time, it's very well justified.
Yeah, you know what?
Back then,
I'll take the crazy. I'll take the schizo posting. I'll take the racism. At least they're reasonable people that I wouldn't have much objection to them being my neighbors. These people from the Middle East, from India, from North Africa, I don't want them as my neighbor. I don't want to share a country with them. I want them to go back wherever they came from. They don't belong here. They don't understand our ways. They never will. Like Asmongold said, right now the objection is the moderate option. Yeah, but it will get to the point where moderate options are just no longer an option. They're all exhausted. I swear most of the Indians coming here, as few as they are, become very poor public bus drivers, usually in cities, that are road hazard in a bus. They're just a road hazard, period. You see plenty of them in America, and especially we saw with, who was it, Tyler Oliveira, that they just sort of mass congregate in certain metro areas in America. I've seen them, and so many of them, it's like there's no way they're making that much money that they can, in any legitimate way, that they can afford some of the fancy cars that they drive, and constantly getting into accidents and constantly abusing the whole student driver placard when they've had a license, however they acquired it. I had no idea. Just goes to show you they'll give a driving license to anyone with a pulse these days. And it's like, oh yeah, I've had it for for 2 years now. I was like, really? And you got a student driver bumper sticker or placard on your car. Why? At some point you stop being a student driver after about maybe 6 months, and it's presumed that you know what the fuck you're doing. But apparently not.
Wasn't even half the shit that's coming out now, and they were getting arrested for it. That is horrible. So this is a moment in time where we really do have to do everything we can to support them, and that's why I'm making this video, and that's why I try to put a little bit extra effort into it, because it's necessary for me to do so. I believe that wholeheartedly, and so I want to show my support for you guys, because what's happening here is evil, and I know it's crazy, but this is good that people are talking about this. The fact that this report is out, this is a good thing. This is a good sign. The people of the West, the children of the West, they have woken up to this. They are under no delusions. I know some of them are, but more people now than ever before have woken up to it. They're not buying the bullshit. They understand what's really happening here, and they're starting to do something about it. That's why I'm hopeful. That's why I don't blackpill about these things. This is a moment in time where there is no defensible action your enemies can take, because this is completely unjustifiable. And you will see people try to do so, but it's gonna backfire on them, trust me. Because more people than you would think, when they look at this stuff, they see it for what it is. It is evil. And if you want to know how to get rid of this, there's two things you have to do. This is true for the UK, this is true for America, true for the West all over. First things first, you have more than one enemy. First things first, you have more than one main problem. You have to get rid of the people that are doing these things. In this case, it's the Muslim rape gangs. They have to go. There can be no sympathy. There has to be remigration. And I know that seems like a tall order to ask for, but it's more possible.
That's the moderate option. The more extreme option would involve mass executions. The moderate option is very quickly becoming non-viable. Most dangerous part of an evening bus trip these days are the Muslims laying in wait in the grass at isolated bus stops with fireworks they'll light and throw at the bus. And for what purpose? Just for a laugh? Just to cause chaos? Just to flex on people? Just to create loud noises? And what, is that their way of swinging their dick around? People like that have more proof they have no business being in Western countries. That sort of retarded, low IQ behavior. No, we can't share countries with people like that.
Ever been. Just look at what's happening. You can feel it. You know it. But remigration is a necessity for the survival of the West. It is required for us to go another 100, 200 years. The second thing that you need to do, and this is arguably the most important, because you got rid of the barbarians, that's great. The barbarians are no longer inside your fortress, so they can't pillage and rape you, but it's not going to do anything if you don't get rid of the people that are responsible for them being there in the first place. That includes the politicians, that includes every single person involved with the media that suppressed this.
Yes, there need to be mass witch hunts.
The media had their own reasons for suppressing this story as well. You have to remove them from power. You have to get rid of them. You can't just send the people doing these things back. You got to send the people that let them do these things in the first place back as well. The people that opened the door, the people that went above and beyond to make sure that not only they could have a place to live in your home, in your country, but they could also get away with literally abusing your kids. There has to be some level of justice for that, and that does include the Jewish oligarchs. That does include race communists that just absolutely hate white people, which weirdly enough is also Jewish. You need to completely get rid of all of these people. You need to kick them out. You need to keep them out. And obviously, that's a tall order. You know, donors, people with money, people that own politicians, the people that have participated in suppressing this and inviting these people to be there in the first place, the people that, you know, started wars in all these different countries that caused all these migrant crises at no benefit to you whatsoever. That's the most fucked up part, is they send you and your kids to go die in some war, and they tell you it's for one thing, it's completely fucking bullshit, and then they cause all these issues, all these problems, and then they just let those people go to your country. They just let them
invade the world, invite the world.
Because they're essentially bioweapons. They're there on purpose to destabilize you. All of these things that are happening, they're happening for a reason. It's happening because it is designed to destroy you. Don't assume it's just because every politician is an idiot and they just make mistakes. Sometimes, yeah, that happens, but not like this. And that's why it's important now than ever
This
to
is
be open
beyond weaponized incompetence. This is malicious. Communists need to be gotten rid of, as is anyway. Yeah, communists aren't people. The only thing they deserve is to be dropped from helicopters.
about this, to talk about it. If you can, if you're a YouTuber, you should be talking about it. If you're a writer, you should be writing about it. You should talk about it with your friends or family, whether you're American or Canadian or British or Scottish or from Ireland. It doesn't matter.
If you're part of
from
the
West,
Anglosphere.
if you're a part of the West, this does affect you. And unfortunately for us, this is just another step in the long-term game plan to replace whites. Part of that is stuff like this. You destabilize them, you flood the countries and the neighborhoods with people that will literally torture their children, and then you give them get out of jail free passes. Even in the UK, when they arrest these people, dude, they give them like no sentences whatsoever. You know,
they just let them go. They'll just let them go. Up for airdropping deportees on countries that refuse return sans parachute. Yeah, no parachute required.
I get mad all the time in America when people get off with like 30 years in jail and it's like that person should be dead. But in the UK, you guys really, like, I've seen stuff where people will do fucked up shit and they only get like 5 years. But
There's an idea for an AI song if someone wants to steal that. Don't know if anybody remembers the old Phil Collins album and song No Jacket Required. Maybe do a variation on that. No parachute required.
I digress. The point is, this is important. What's happening here matters. What happened to those young women in Britain? 250,000 of them abused and forgotten by their own people, their own government, I should say, not the people, because the people remembered. The families remember. That affects them. It's not just the 250,000 themselves. Every single one of those women, every single one of those little girls, they have a mom and they have a dad. More than likely, some of them have brothers and sisters. Some of them have cousins, aunts, uncles. They have a family. And even if they didn't have an extended family, they had a community. They had neighbors. They had people that loved them. Those people did not forget. You owe it to them to do everything you can when it comes to this. And I know making videos isn't everything, but talking about it, that does matter.
A start.
And it is important. And it's not over. I've said this a billion times, and I'm not going to shut up about it, because if it was over, they wouldn't try to censor you so much. If it was over, they wouldn't try to damage control every single fucking thing in existence. Yeah. It's not over. And since there's a chance, that means it is your responsibility to take it. Since there is hope, it is your responsibility to have it. If not for you, for your family. What less would your ancestors want for you? What less would God want for you? Does God want you to give up hope? Does God want you to just lay over and die? Do you think your ancestors would want you to do that? No.
God is
here for
hope.
A reason. We're here for a reason. We didn't just build Western society because we're a bunch of bitches. I know there's quite a lot of us that are bitches nowadays. That doesn't have to be you. You don't have to be a bitch. You don't have to be that. You can be better. But that only starts when you choose to do that. Nobody can force you to be like that. You have to make that decision yourself. And some people might think it's silly. Some people might think there's no hope and that it's just a waste of time. Fuck those people. There's always been people like that, and they're never recorded in history. Nobody ever remembers who those people are. They're always forgotten, because that's
history
what people
does not
who are
remember
forgotten
them.
do. They do nothing. Don't be one of them. And that's what I wanted to talk about today. I wanted to do what I could in relation to this story and everything that was happening. I just had to talk about it with you guys, and I felt like there was a need to do so. So hopefully, you guys agree. I'm sure there's somebody who's going to disagree, but I would like to hear your thoughts on everything that's happened. So please, if you have something to add, leave it below, whether you do agree or disagree with something I say. But if you did enjoy this video, if you learned anything, or if you got anything out of this, please share it. Please like the video. Subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out, but it also does boost these videos to go in the algorithm, and that's just going to help it reach more people, and that's kind of the end goal, because this is an important subject. But thank you guys for watching, and remember to check me out on Rumble, follow me on X, and as always, Jesus Christ is King of Kings, Lord of Lords, America first, only and forever. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you all later.
Good content. Everyone make sure you go follow Tom Poe. Oh, he's also on Rumble and on X. Now, you know what? We're going to do that right now. Give him a follow. Last thing you see is an Islamic immigrant in Scotland. I like that. When Muslims invaded Vlad, he ran 20,000 poles up their arse and made a forest. Be like Vlad. Base. See. He's also on Rumble. Search him up, everybody. Actually, you know what? I'll do one better. I'm going to copy and paste his Rumble page into all the chats here. Everyone make sure you go follow Tom Foe. He's a good content creator. Need more voices like that. His voice honestly reminds me of Nick Fuentes, except he's not accelerationist. And, you know, he's not kind of faking gay and cringe. He actually sounds like a good young lad with a good heart. A lot more calm, yeah.